Tighten up.
Yep.
I'm Dave Pulcinella, founder of Species Nutrition. From my earliest bodybuilding days, I believed in only putting the best in my body. And that lives on in the Species Nutrition line of products. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution.
Hey guys, we're super excited to be here at the LA Fit Expo. It's our third year in a row. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be launching the Tasty Pastry. It's a low-carb Pop-Tart. It's got 3 to 4 grams of net carbs. And we love this show. This is our best place to be in LA.
Hey, this is the Game Triple H from the WWE. You're watching RXMuscle.com, the truth in bodybuilding.
RX Television, RXMuscle.com. This is Ask Dave, better known as hashtag Ask Dave, your 30-minute question and answer show with Dave Pulcinella. Whatever's on your mind. Diet, training, supplementation, of course, the Olympia, just over 3 weeks away. So usually when we do a Thanksgiving sale over the last few years, we'll have one single solitary sale. Maybe we'll change it up for Cyber Monday. This time, however, over Thanksgiving weekend, we're going to have 3 separate sales. So the one that we can only announce right now is the sale for Thanksgiving Day, which is tomorrow. It's going to be, let me pull it up real quick, 30% off the entire speciesnutrition.com. Spend $60 or more. And Dave, you'll be able to show it on your screen. Get the new Species t-shirt. It is a 3D raised print t-shirt. So sort of like a 3D rendered image of the Species logo on the front. Cool new design, cool new concept. Dave, you want to show it to the audience. But that is what's available for tomorrow. And then subsequently to that, Black Friday and Cyber Monday, we will announce accordingly. But that is the deal. That is a sale for Thanksgiving Day.
So I want to just put in, it's I have the shirt on right here. I love the shirt. These 3D raised shirts are freaking awesome. They're great material, they're nicely made, and I think you guys are going to really love it. It's $60 spend after the discount. So if you apply the 30% discount code, which we will post on our Instagram and all over the place, after the code, you got to spend at least $60. You get a free t-shirt with that. And like I said, I don't want to hear emails. I don't want to get calls when Cyber Monday comes or Black Friday comes saying, oh, I wanted to do the other sale. There's going to be a separate sale, and they're all going to be really cool all 3 days. So it is what it is, take what you like. You might like something this day. You might want to get something else the next day. I don't know. This is an opportunity to stock up on Species Nutrition products at a greatly discounted rate. You're going to get some great deals that I never make available during the year. This is the best deals you'll see all year long. So if you got if you're using product on a year-round basis, like most people are, stock up now. That's all I can tell you.
So again, tomorrow, rather at midnight tonight, that sale is going to go live at speciesnutrition.com. The deal that we're telling you about is only for Thanksgiving Day. Subsequent Black Friday deal and the Cyber Monday deal will be announced accordingly. Let's get to the questions. The first 2 questions on the show, of course, from the Dave Pulcinella Experience app. First question, I noticed when I blast a new cycle, I love questions about blasting, right into 1,000 mg test with 600 mg bold, I get sick, lethargic, dizzy within the first few weeks. I was wondering if I could pyramid up my cycle slowly.
Yeah, some people get their body's immune system kind of goes a little nutty and starts almost like attacking the drugs in a sense, not neutralizing them, but hyper responding to them because there's so much at one time. So if you're one of those cases, first of all, if you take like 2 Tylenol, acetaminophen, it'll go away, that feeling. But if you don't like it and it happens to you repetitively, you can certainly start at half the amount for the first week and then ramp up slowly over the first 3 weeks. No problem whatsoever with that. It's interesting about blasting and cruising. I always get these. I hate those terms, but I guess people use them. But I have guys that are just brand new to using anabolics, and they're like, when I'm blasting and cruising, I'm like, hold on, let me just get this straight. So you're going to either blast, which obviously means take a lot of gear, full cycle, or you're going to cruise, which usually means taking some kind of bridging amount, whether it be a HRT amount like 200 milligrams a week, or taking Anavar or some other substance, to bridge, okay, or cruise with. So you're never going to be off. Is that the idea? Well, I thought that's what everyone does, right? Don't you blast and then you cruise, right? And you blast and cruise. I said, no, that's not the way it works. There's called an off period where you actually go off. That's why it's called cycling. You don't cycle from high to moderate and then go back to high again. That's not how it works. So, unfortunately, we live in a world where people want nonstop improvements, and that's not the way it happens. You always have to take a few steps back to take a few steps forward. This was a good question. This comes from the Dave Pulcinella Experience app. If you're looking to buy some stocking stuffers, now that we're here already, this Christmas season's here. It's a great gift to give someone. I was always a very hard person to buy a gift for around holiday time because I always bought everything I wanted, and a lot of times you can't think of what to get that person you love. Well, a subscription, $29 a month to the Dave Pulcinella Experience app is great, especially for that bodybuilding fanatic, whether it be male or female, someone who's looking to constantly keep learning. They want a place to find all my writings, all my videos that I've ever done in one place, plus an exclusive Q&A video every single week we put up there. We put up a workout every week, and I answer everyone's questions in the app. So if you're an app member, you can ask me a question anytime you want, and it will be answered in an open forum so everyone sees all the questions and the answers, which is great because you get to learn from other people's questions as well. So great gift. You subscribe at the iTunes store or the Android store. Super stocking stuffer.
Second question again from the Dave Pulcinella Experience app. Assuming average genetics and enhanced, how long should one hold their off-season weight before cutting, say at a minimum of 8 to 12 weeks?
I always tell people the longer you can maintain a certain body weight, let's say like I'm trying to grow, okay? So my mark in my mind is I want to get to 260 pounds, right? So I get to that 260 pound mark, and then the day I get there, I start dieting for my competition. Well, my body really hasn't accepted 260 pounds as being a new set point for my body or a permanent type of weight. It's just something that just happened on one day. If I held that 260 for a month or two and then I started dieting, much more likely that my body will have accepted the 260 as being more permanent. And so it seems like you will not lose as many of those gains. Because when you first get to a certain weight, a lot of it's fluid, retention. And yes, you made it to that weight on the scale, but it might not just be solid weight at that point. That's why I think the first time I got to 300, I was like, I think that was a 95. And then the following year, then I started dieting. I competed at 258, so that was 42 pounds. And I really wasn't fat, but it was a lot of water weight. And then the following year, I got up to 315, which was only 15 pounds more, but I held 300 really solidly at that year because now that had become more solidified in my body. And when I dieted down to 270 or so, whatever, I competed at 268 the following year. That 285 to 300 range was a much more solid weight for me because I had held it for over a year now. So you got to try to, in your mind, say to yourself, hey, yes, I gained the weight I wanted. Do I look good enough to start dieting, or should I wait longer to maintain that weight a little bit and try to solidify those gains? That's really entirely up to you. But understand that when you first get to a weight, that's not your new weight. Oh, I made it to 260. Great. Yeah. Well, that's not really a solid weight for you. It's a fictitious weight that you hit on the scale, which is great because you reached the goal, but your body hasn't accepted that weight. And it usually can take anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks for your body to really accept that new body weight.
Let's go to our Instagram questions. Again, if you're not already following us on Instagram, the handle is official_RX Muscle. Of course, we are now 3 weeks out from the Olympia. So between now, with everyone posting their progress pictures, we'll be chronicling at least, some of the big ones from the course of the day. And then, of course, in 3 weeks in Vegas, wall-to-wall coverage of the Olympia. So we're going to have everything on our feed, everything in our stories. Basically, if you're not in Vegas, we're going to be taking you to Vegas with us. So if you haven't already subscribed, official_RX Muscle. And then, of course, if you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button below, hit the notification bell. If you like what you're watching, hit the like button, comment below. And as always, we appreciate all of your support. So we have a new episode of Iron Debate, basically the first Olympia preview segment of Iron Debate. We said we were going to drop it today. However, change of plans, given that with After Hours taking some time to turn green, if you know what I mean, we had to push that to today. Of course, this show. So tomorrow, all new episode of Iron Debate. We promise it's a good one, featuring Steve Kuklo and the 2022 Mr. USA, Stu Sutherland. So, the topic was biggest threat to knock off Big Ramy. Who would have the best chance? So it's a really good, nuanced discussion, nuanced debate. And we're going to be dropping that live on Thanksgiving Day on RX Muscle. First question from Iron Addict. Best way to deal with IT band issues?
A lot of IT band issues are due to pronation with your feet. In other words, you're walking incorrectly, and or when you train your legs, you're pushing from the wrong part of your foot because the balance of your foot is not right. Now, whether you have flat feet or you have too big of an arch or just your foot is not shaped properly, I recommend that all my athletes, and I've been wearing them myself, get a pair of custom-made orthotics. Now, what orthotics are is they're a insert that goes into your shoe. So what you do is you pull that little piece of foam that's in all the shoes that doesn't do anything. You pull that out and you put the orthotic in there. Now, this is not the orthotic you go to Walmart and you can kind of like pick, I'm this, I'm that. No, you have to have it custom made to your foot. Now, back in the day when I first had it made back in the 80s, when I was a runner, they used to mold you. They used to actually cast your foot like you were getting casted for like you broke your ankle or something like that. And that's how they molded your foot. And then they had these things where you just kind of stepped in this styrofoam and it left an impression. Nowadays, when I was at my doctor last, they actually it's a cell phone app and they scan the bottom of your foot with this app and it sends off this thing to the lab and they send you back a orthotic. You wear it in your shoe all the time, and you know what? I guarantee your IT band issue will go away. Promise.
Let's go to Carlos Fit NYC. Well, the question that you have, the answer, Dave, Stu Sutherland, Steve Kuklo, all kind of discussed. The question is about Brandon Curry seeming to have made some improvements. Do you think he could beat Ramy or at least play second, beating everyone else? So you'll have to tune in tomorrow, Iron Debate. So last week we asked about Vinny the Chin, someone that you've had on more recently that we haven't had on the show in quite some time. Dave Pulcinella. When's Dave Pulcinella going to be back on the show?
Yeah, I was just talking to Dave the other day. And, he opened his own gym in Delaware. So he has been very busy. Obviously, as you know, when you open the gym, you're trying to make it profitable. You have to cater to the member. It's a labor of love. A lot of people think, you open a gym and everyone just comes in there and you make money. Now, it's a lot of work. So I think Dave is finally getting settled in there. So we'll probably get him back on the show. I know he enjoyed coming on the show, but he has to, look, his business comes first. I understand that. And we'll get him back for sure.
So last week, Dave confirmed to us again that he will not, in fact, be making the trip to the Olympia, despite the fact that essentially we're going to have the entire Whack Pack out in Vegas. But this may be further incentive for you to want to go if this were to actually take place.
Yeah.
Question is from someone 5 feet behind. What are the chances we could get a best Nasser impersonation contest out of Aceto, King Kamali, Lee Priest when they're all together at the Olympia?
I think I would win that competition, but I won't be there, so I guess that leaves the door. But no, you should. I think you should do the best George Farah impression because I got to tell you, Kamali has got the best. And no disrespect to George, Kamali can imitate George Farah better than anyone. And I thought I had a pretty good one, and Chris Aceto has a pretty good Farah too, but no one beats Kamali. He's the best. That's the one we should do. Even Nasser would agree with that. Yes, King Kamali, he is very talented at doing Middle Eastern bodybuilders. He can imitate George Farah very well. I find it humorous, even though I think that King was never of the caliber of myself and had the development in me, but he does do a very good George Farah impression.
Let's go to Ivan Banyanet's thoughts on 5-HTP.
5-HTP is kind of like a precursor to serotonin. I'll tell you a lot. I'll tell you people who use that a lot. Guys who would go out and women who would take ecstasy, MDMA, which the reason why ecstasy gives you that euphoric feeling is that it causes a tremendous release of serotonin in your body, and you get that euphoric feeling from it. So it depletes so much serotonin that the next day when it wears off, or even a day after that, you can get really depressed because it's like your body has exhausted itself with serotonin. A lot of people take 5-HTP to try to build up serotonin levels. So it definitely is a precursor to serotonin. If your serotonin levels are normal, it probably won't do very much of anything. But if you do seem to have a deficit, maybe you're not sleeping enough, or for whatever the reason is, or maybe you do too many stimulants, you might find that it does help. But once again, it's one of those supplements that really won't do that much unless you need it.
Action figure. Every time after a prep or when I overeat, I get nonstop hiccups all day. Sometimes 8 strong hiccups that beat all the way to my chest and heart. Why is that? Have you ever seen something like that?
When some people eat like crappy foods, like cheat meals, it causes acid reflux. And when acid irritates that area in the esophagus, and that's, around the diaphragm here, and so a lot of people have hiatal hernias. What a hiatal hernia is actually where the esophagus, which is the food tube that goes into your stomach, where it goes through your diaphragm, your diaphragm cuts you off in the middle, there's a hole there now it's supposed to be attached. So this esophagus is supposed to be attached to the diaphragm here, and it's not supposed to move. But a lot of times you get what's called a hiatal hernia, where the diaphragm can move up and down, like through the hole in the diaphragm. And what happens is it squeezes the food in the stomach back up into your esophagus. And when that area gets irritated, a lot of times it can cause hiccups because the phrenic nerve is right there, which is what innervates the diaphragm muscle. So you might want to take some kind of like an antacid, like a Tums, if you're going to have a cheat meal. If you do get a little acid reflux and that happens, that might solve the problem. So eat your cheat meal, take 2 Tums, and then I bet you don't get the hiccups anymore. Or even if you get the hiccups, maybe take 2 more Tums and see how that happens. Because if you can get that acid to stop irritating that area, you wouldn't have a problem. A lot of times when people take Trenbolone, they get hiccups too, and I think it's the same reason. I think it excites those nerves so much so that the diaphragm is always contracting, and it pushes the food in your stomach back up, and it irritates that area from the acidity, and a lot of times that can cause hiccups. So try some antacids.
Bilal Hamide, for PEDs, are ampules less likely to be fake than vials?
You would think so because it's very expensive to make a fake vial, whereas a 10 cc bottle is so easy. You put the stuff in there, you put a rubber stopper, you crimp the top on, and you're done. So you'd actually need to have a vial maker. But fake anabolics, are big money. So I mean, if you're making huge money, it might be worth it for people to buy an ampule machine, which makes ampules. So I wouldn't put it past anything. I tell people, look, test everything. And you know what? I've had this conversation a lot recently with women because, I advise a lot of women. Probably 50% of my clients are women. And I treat them all as though they were my wife. In other words, would I want my wife or a girlfriend taking, this product and, knowing that it could hurt them or ruin them or masculinize them. So I make sure that the women test everything, or at least I tell them, listen, guys, go to DavePalumbo.com, buy the Roy test kits I sell, and test your steroids. If you're taking Anavar or Winstrol, just test it. It takes 2 seconds. It's $20 a tester. There's no reason not to test your gear in this society, knowing that nothing is legitimately made in a real laboratory anymore, unless you're getting it from like a doctor or a hormone replacement clinic. It's all being made underground, meaning that you're trusting the person who's putting the powder and the oil into the bottle to put the right stuff in there, or to put anything in there for that matter. Just test it. You're a moron if you get caught, and you find out, hey, well, my stuff was fake. I didn't realize it. Why? Are you that lazy? I mean, you'll go to the store, you'll cook all your food, you'll spend the money on the drugs, buy a tester from me and test the stuff. The GH too. Yeah, I know the GH testers are more expensive. It's a different type of test. But you're spending thousands. You're not spending hundreds. You're spending thousands on GH. Spend $100 and get a tester and test the stuff and see if it's real, so you're not wasting your time and your money or risking your health for that matter. Because if you're a woman and you think you're taking Anavar and you're really taking Dianabol, you're going to have problems, okay? Same thing with a man. If if you're allergic to test propionate, like I am, where it hurts every time you inject it, you get swelled up, and and you think you're taking testananthate, and you're actually taking test propionate. Every time you take a shot, you got a big, huge welt everywhere, and you feel terrible. I mean, who's suffering? It's your own fault for not testing this stuff. Test everything. It like I said, it takes 5 minutes, and then at least you have peace of mind. Okay, you know what? This stuff is good. I'll buy more of it, and I'll put it in my drawer so I know I have it. At least I know the stuff is good.
Anwar, tips to minimize water retention while on a bulk. Hate when my face gets puffy. I think I have predisposed to all the water going to my face.
Yeah, some people just get really bloated, unfortunately, and a lot of people hold it in their face. And you know what? It comes at the terror. Assuming your estrogen levels are in check and they're not too high, you also don't want them to be too low. But assuming they're not too high, that if you're holding water, it just means that you're very sodium sensitive or fluid sensitive. Now, another mistake people make is they restrict sodium in their diet, and then they have one meal or so that has a little extra salt in it, and they blow right up. So don't restrict sodium when you're dieting or when you're off season, for that matter, because if you do, you make yourself super sensitive to sodium. And how do you do that? You raise aldosterone levels. You don't want high aldosterone in the body, because every time you eat salt, you're going to blow up like an elephant. You don't want that, okay? So the best way to desensitize yourself to salt is to eat a lot of salt in your diet, and then your body just pees out the extra. Now, having said that, if you are very sensitive to fluid and maybe it's bothering you because you got a wedding coming up, you could cut your carbohydrate intake back for a week, and the water will come off your face, because you can't hold fluid if you're not eating carbs. That's why people who do like my ketogenic diet, especially the women, they love the diet because they never retain any fluid. Because if you're not eating carbs, you can take all the drugs you want. You're not going to be bloated. It's impossible. You only hold water, believe it or not, when you're eating carbohydrates. Unless your aldosterone levels are through the roof because you've been, doing weird shit with your body or taking diuretics or something like that. There's always a rebound after a show. But I'm talking about on a regular basis. If you're eating 300-400 grams of carbs a day and you're bloated and you're like, you know what, I got a wedding coming up, or I'm going on vacation. What should I do? Should I take diuretics? No, that's not the right, because you're going to rebound off those. Just lower your carbs for 4 or 5 days. Your body will deplete all that water out literally in a week, and you'll look much better. But being bloated, believe it or not, is very anabolic. Your body likes to hold fluid. The cells like to be hydrated. If the muscle cells are overhydrated, they're very anabolic, and they recover better, they perform better. So it's not a bad thing necessarily to have a little bloat on your body.
I'm a natural lifter, 7 years now. I train mostly every day, seeing progress every day. I don't feel like resting, have energy to train, but should I be taking rest anyways?
Yes. You should never train more than 5 days a week. So I recommend 3 days in a row, a day off, 2 days in a row, a day off. Or if you have a weird schedule and you want to do 5 days in a row and then 2 days in a row off, never train more than 5 days a week. Your body will thank you for it. You'll grow better. You'll recover better. You'll feel better. You'll be stronger. You'll have more. Your sex drive will be better. I'm telling you, you don't need to train more than 5 days a week. No one can recover from that. And you know what? Even the people who do train 6-7 days a week who look good, they would look even better if they didn't do it that many days. And you know what? If you go back and watch the interview I did with Lee Haney a few weeks ago, he said the same thing. I said, Lee, how did you get so much better from 90 to 91 your last year winning the Olympia when you beat Dorian? I said, were you worried about Dorian? He goes, no, I wasn't worried about anyone. I was Mr. Olympia. He said, I just wasn't overtraining as much. I cut my training back. He goes, I was training too much. I was training 6 days a week, killing myself, and I cut back. And lo and behold, I came in 8 or 9 or almost 10 pounds heavier. So even Lee Haney, the great Lee Haney, who says, stimulate, don't annihilate, even he was overtraining. So if Lee Haney, a guy with superior genetics, realized that, then you should listen to him. Dorian Yates was a big also proponent. He said, you know what? He kept cutting days back and cutting more. He said the less he trained, the bigger he got and the more he recovered. He realized that the body needs rest. And you know what? That's where I learned to take days off, because believe me, I love to train. I never wanted to take a day off. But when I saw Dorian telling me you got to take days off, you better believe I listened to him, because I saw the results that he got.
Take a couple more questions. I'm in bodybuilding. Are there any side effects from taking HCG and HMG for a long time during your pregnancy protocol?
Not really, to be honest with you. It's it's like you're on a prolonged PCT. You're artificially stimulating your testicles to produce sperm and testosterone. Is really what's happening. I mean, so it's like you're replacing what your body naturally would be doing. Some people notice a little waning in sex drive, but I think that has a lot more to do with taking Clomid. So if you add 50 milligrams of Clomid, which most people do, because it helps, keep the hypothalamus working better, that can sometimes, play with your sex drive a little bit. Some people get a little emotional on it because it is a derivative of estrogen. I don't think it's the HCG and HMG that really is the problem. So I personally haven't had any problems. Now, if you're very sensitive to gynecomastia, you could aromatize from some of the HCG you're taking, and that could be an issue. But by and far, I haven't heard anyone complain of any problems.
Take one more question. So, full disclosure, in about a couple of hours, Dave's going to have Milos Sarcev on. He's going to talk all things Olympia. But when it comes to Milos, obviously, one of the things that he's known best for his training methods are the giant sets. What are your thoughts on not only just, I guess, the giant sets, but, the usage of different exercises and, again, we just talked about overtraining and taking some time off of training, but obviously different types of trainings. There are giant sets, but there are Milos Sarcev's giant sets. Your thoughts on his approach?
A lot of people don't realize, and Milos will be the first to tell you, Milos doesn't do only giant sets with competitors. He'll do them, at certain times of the year, but it's not always, like every workout's not giant sets. I mean, that's not how he trains, but that's one of the techniques he employs. And I think that on a limited basis, it definitely has a benefit. I think that you can certainly, I used to switch up my workouts. I would get bored. I would do some drop sets sometimes. I would do supersetting sometimes. I would do biceps, one exercise, and then go right to triceps and do an exercise and then rest. Giant sets is the same exercise, is the same body part. You're training only multiple machines. So you might do flat bench press, go to incline dumbbells, and then, incline flies or something like that. Boom, boom, boom. Milos likes to do stuff on machines like that. Anything that intensifies what you're doing is good. It's just you don't want to do something too high intensity all the time because then that could lead to overtraining. So it's got to be done cyclically, and that's what I think Milos would agree as well. He does it in a cyclical fashion. It's not always full, all-out, board of the, foot to the pedal to the metal, so to speak. It's done in controlled manner with some kind of logical system that you're employing. So yes, I think it's a good thing. Do I think you should be doing it all the time? No.
That's going to do for this episode of Ask Dave. Reminder, tonight at midnight, 30% off store-wide at speciesnutrition.com. Spend $60 after discounts. Oh, yeah. I mean, before discounts, right? No, after discounts.
After discounts. After discounts.
After discounts. Spend $60 after discounts. You get the brand new Species 3D printed t-shirt, the one that Dave has on right now, the raised printing. Is that limited stock or is that just
everything's limited stock? Because every time I say it's not, we run out, we sell out of the stuff. So these Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, we do a lot of business on these days. I feel really bad for my wife because she processes all the orders, and we get a lot of orders. So it's possible we could run out of a size. I don't know, but we'll be keeping track on the website, so if we do run out, it'll say out of that size or something like that. But we have pretty good stock. We just got a pretty big order in, so I think we should be good for the holidays.
But again, there's going to be a Thanksgiving sale, there's going to be a Black Friday sale, and
Right.
there's going to be a Cyber Monday sale.
Right.
So we're going to have 3 unique sales over the course of the weekend. So again, the first one is going to start tonight, and that's the only one that we can tell you about at the moment.
Right.
30% off store-wide. Spend $60 after discount, and you get the 3D printed t-shirt.
Right. Yep.
For Tyler Short and Dave Palumbo, I'm Sadiq Faruqi. See you next time.
Happy Thanksgiving.